All right, what is going on and how is everyone doing today on the last day of 2021? This is your Uncle Steve here, wishing everyone a happy new year, not only in the Atlanta Bird Gang on Facebook, but on Uncle Steve's Lounge. We've had a big year this year. Thank you, everybody, for joining in this year, subscribing, and doing all of that good stuff this year to keep the interaction going. Thank you to everyone in the Atlanta Bird Gang in 2021. I think it would be to say that we've had an interesting year would be an understatement. We've gone through quite a bit since this time last year. We got a new coach, we got a new GM, we have new people in charge, we have new players, we have some folks that we didn't know that would break out. We have people that have improved this year on the team. So just a lot of things to be thankful for going forward into 2022. I do feel like we're going to have a lot of things to look forward to. And I see y'all coming in already. Robert, I appreciate you, brother. Happy New Year to you. Let's start the rebuild with a new quarterback. I think hopefully if Santa did his job, that's underneath the tree this year, the chance to get some semblance of a new quarterback coming in this year. That would be great. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Happy New Year to you too. Everyone be out there, be safe. Listen, all I'm going to say is this stuff is for real. I'll just leave it right there because a lot of folks will try to pretend like catching a cold is no big deal. And you know what? The older I get, the more I don't want to catch a cold. So y'all play it like y'all want to. I say be safe. I say be cautious this year. Parties, things like that. I know they're going to happen. I know people are going to do those things, but just use good judgment this year. Hopefully, Lord willing, this won't be the only New Year celebration you'll be able to have. But I'm telling you, man, this new variant thing is for real. I mean, counseling, a lot of church services this evening, and everything going forward. I'm telling you that just be very safe, y'all. Safe in whatever you're doing in the next couple of weeks, because this stuff definitely is spreading. The numbers I see for it spreading. Yes, it's not as dangerous, but again, no one wants to get a cold. I don't know anyone who wants to get a cold. Everybody just be cool and do what you do. What's going on, Cam? How you doing, man? Says I'll be laying low with my old self. Actually, I'm out on the grill right now. I was gonna go outside and do this. I was gonna do the broadcast before the grill. I'm trying to sneak in here real quick before the games start coming on. I know everyone's going to be paying attention to Alabama, Cincinnati a little bit later on, but I'm trying to grill for the family, give us something that we can, have while we're watching the games today, and a little bit left over for tomorrow and all of that. But yeah, lay low, brother. That's the thing. What's going on, Christopher? How you doing, man? Happy New Year to you, brother. Excuse me. Happy New Year to you. And I was going by and I said to myself, uh, barring anything weird, this will probably be the last live I have for this year. Of course, we'll come on this weekend after the Falcons game. But what moments in 2021, significant moments to you for the Falcons that you consider significant? And when I say that, I don't want to act like there were 10 bright moments in 2021. We could argue about that all day. But we've had our moments in the group. We've had our moments from the draft in April to finding out earlier in this year who our new coach was going to be. I know a lot of people earlier in the year, some didn't really know what to think about Arthur Smith. We're 90% of the season done, and the jury probably is still out until you see what happens. Terry Fontenot being brought into the mix as the general manager. What is his style going to be? What is he going to be like? Know a lot of people are holding him to the fire for comments they made early in the year about not rebuilding and trying to win now. But those moments, we talk about the draft. Draft night, again, still a big discussion in this group whether that was the right move to bring to draft a tight end, no matter how talented he is, or to go for the future and draft a quarterback. I've said it too many times. Everyone knows how I feel. No complaints about the talents of Kyle Pitts. But do you go back and say to yourself, could this have been the first year of a technical rebuild as opposed to anything else? And that's what I want to get from you guys. What moments you have? I mean, it's really interesting when you start looking at our record 7-8 this year. But were there any games to you in 2021 that were memorable? I don't. Even last year, 2020, when you start going back to the games, we start talking about the Dallas game, the Chicago game, the Detroit game, those last second blunders, whatever they were, at least they were memorable. When I look back at this year's slate of games we've had this year, yes, we won a couple in the last play of the game. Of course, the New Orleans game, to me, will always stick out. Anytime to stick it to New Orleans is a great thing. That pass to Cordell Patterson down the sideline probably is one of the more memorable plays of 2021. But is it just me, or is not any standout moments this year? I just don't feel like it. So we could talk about standout moments. We can talk about just your favorite thing that happened with the Falcons this year. Anything. We're gonna take you for a little bit. I understand everybody is probably gonna get hyped up to watch this game, so I'm not gonna stay with y'all super long. But I would like to know where you all are with that. Lisa says we argued a lot in this group in 2021. And listen, being one of the lucky ones to be an admin in this group has been pretty fun. It's also been challenging with the way that Facebook has kind of tightened up on a lot of the rules. A couple of years ago, people were just saying what they want to and being able to express themselves. However, nowadays, a lot of the things that you all are finding out, a lot of the things that people say in the group, it's not the admins that are taking these things out. This is Facebook. Facebook is really coming down on the hardcore comments and things like that. So hopefully people realize that we're not sitting up here 24/7 looking at comments and delete, delete. That's really not what we're doing. But yeah, it's been a whole lot of, whether you're arguing about probably the most polarizing thing this year, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, I would say would be in that top mix of things we've talked about. I still had a lot, even though it came in the middle of the year with Calvin Ridley, his situation. A lot of that has been made. This Ryanite, Cryonite thing, which I really don't understand, but that is really going through a lot of Atlanta Falcons groups. I don't get that part, but that's such a big thing. Personalities that I've seen come through in Atlanta Bird Gang, guys that I've seen for a little while, but now finally getting a chance to kind of come out and really be known this year in the Atlanta Bird Gang. I'm just thinking right off the hand. I'm not slighting anybody. There are a lot of people, but I think about Eddie Thompson. I think about Brother Strap Brown, Jeremy Cox, who's been making some outstanding videos lately, and putting in the group, and then one of the moderators in the group. Just a lot of good interaction. Obviously, you guys get to watch the rumblings of Marcus Washington from the view from a car as he gives us most of his stuff this year. Tidy with the red cup solo and cigar hour that he has. Just been a lot of good stuff in the group, if you ask me. I'm looking forward to going into 2022, and hopefully we can be even more interactive. I know this year, sometimes when you're not that successful, it makes the conversation a little bit better because a lot of people have more opinions. But I would love to go through this year in 2022 and talk about a real playoff push. I'm not dismissing the fact that the Falcons are still mathematically in this thing, but obviously with the team we have, would probably be more of a mercy killing if we got eliminated this week. So, but looking forward to being a competitive team and seeing what the upper echelon in the Falcons organization thinks we need to do to make us relevant in an NFC that right now is looking pretty crowded. So those things are important. I am coming back. Christopher says that number 4 pick of Kyle and the GM. I hear you. And what does that say? It says, of course, the pick of the coach. And and I'm still kind of lukewarm. I still think the jury's out on Arthur Smith. I'm not ready to give that absolute grade on him this year. If anything, I'm leaning more favorably than unfavorably. This is not to say he hasn't made mistakes. This is not to say he's hasn't arrived. But I will say, for the talent level on this team, I think he's done a pretty good job of keeping this stuff together, if you ask me. And Cam says the most significant situation that happened for me personally, Calvin Ridley walking away due to mental illness issues. And that's one of the things I know lately I've been seeing a lot of interaction, pro and cons of what's going on with Calvin Ridley's situation. The one thing I'll just caution sometimes, and I wrote a post about it a few months ago, and I don't regret writing it. And listen, even if it turns out that this story might not be true, the one thing that you haven't heard from is Calvin Ridley. Even if it turns out that there was a situation where he may not want to play with the Atlanta Falcons, who knows what led to that? Maybe there was something that happened that triggered something where he doesn't want to play for us anymore. I don't know. And that's the dangerous thing when we start speculating sometimes. The only thing I know is, to a man, the man said he had some struggles that he was going through and he's taking a break. So I don't know him personally. I don't know if any of the 30,000 of us in this group know him personally. I think all we're doing right now is doing a lot of speculation. I that's the part I can't stop people from giving their opinions on what they think about it. Only thing I just ask is just think twice before you go with the total derogatory things, because it could turn out to be something very serious, and some of y'all probably don't care if it is or not. But that's your personality. But I think for the most part, I think most people want to just hope whatever happens with the young man that he's able to move on and do whatever he needs to do. I guess it's obvious that playing for the Falcons is not very important on his list right now. You know what? That's fine. That's between him, his family, and whatever he has to do. So I just think it's you just hit a dangerous part to me when you start being super uber critical of something like that and you don't know. All we're doing is speculating when you talk about that. Robert says Kyle Pitts actually looking like a stud, and I'll admit I did not believe in him. And you know what it was with me, Robert? It wasn't that I didn't believe in him as a player. I didn't believe he belonged in the situation that we had right now. Now, obviously, seeing him play and seeing him make some of the plays that we have, of course, you're glad to have talent on your team. He might be, and I was talking to somebody about a post going forward. Going forward, how last year you saw pictures of Matt and pictures of Grady and Calvin on a lot of the things going in. Next year, don't be surprised if the feature face on a lot of the Falcons media stuff ends up being Kyle Pitts. The way he has come on and lived up a little bit to the hype that he has. Pro Bowl, first year rookie. Just having a solid year, quiet, unassuming, and just going about his business. I like it. I like it. Lisa says, having a losing record at home is an unfavorable memory for me this season. The London game, I guess, would be a standout game. Well, it's very disappointing. Last week was the first opportunity I was able to leave the stadium and actually have a bit of a smile on my face, and really had to struggle for that, if not for Foyer's contribution at the end. But yeah, it's disappointing in your home stadium when you can't even win more than one game. And let's hope we have enough to finish up against our rivals next weekend to finish things up on a high note. But yeah, that's discouraging. When you start talking about investments and mental, physical, emotional, financial investments that you make into this team, not to see them come through. I start thinking about even the tailgates and stuff. When I drove in last week for the Detroit game, the tailgating situation wasn't even as lively as it usually is. It wasn't as hyped and things of that. And that comes from the results on the field. When you don't get the results on the field in September, October, and November, by the time you get to December, you're not getting that feel good part about your team. And I think that's what it is right now. Robert says, speaking on Terry, his draft picks outside of picks look like a bust, but I wanted my boy Justin Fields beating the Saints was my standout moment. Yeah, listen, I talk about things in the group. Probably the most, the person talked about in the group that wasn't a Falcon is probably Justin Fields. One of the, I would argue, probably below Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. He was probably the third most talked about person in the group this year, and with good reason, because until 5 years from now, when you see what the resume of Kyle Pitts and Justin Fields is extrapolated out to, you're not going to be able to make that decision to say what would have been the better pick. Now that we made the pick, I hope that Kyle Pitts is all world and can be spoken in the same breath as Travis Kelce and George Kittle. But I don't think this is enough of a sample in Chicago to truly give a total grade on Justin Fields as well. And let's face it, he's a hometown kid. I think a lot of people were rooting for him, stayed for a cup of coffee in Athens for a second. So there are a lot of people that have rooting interest in what he does or what he doesn't do. So I think you can expect there to be a little bit of concern on what happens with him going forward. So I don't have a problem with discussing him every now and then, not just every day. Monteria says, RIP, Betty White died. Okay. But I love the Golden Girls. Yeah, Betty White, look, she hung in there for a long time, man. I remember watching her from Mary Tyler Moore and things from a long time ago. Obviously, the Golden Girls was one of the things that she stood in there. Man, she lived a long life, man. God bless her and rest in peace to her, man. Yeah, man, she is definitely a comic icon. Oh man, sorry to hear that. Hey, what's going on, Anthony? 100% agree about Calvin Ridley. Good luck to him. Yeah, again, it's one of those things where it is touchy. It is touchy. You never know. We can sit here and speculate about how another man feels all day long. You don't know. You don't know. And if it turns out that it's not exactly what he says, he'll get whatever's coming. But we don't know. So that's why I kind of, it's one of those hands-off things for right now. What's going on, PJ, man? Happy New Year to you too, my brother. It said, is there an AtlantaBirdGang tailgating area? We talked about doing that this year. I think for probably the steam let off by the time we got off to the ugly start and we couldn't win. Hopefully this year in 2022, we'll get a better feel for having an area that we can go to as AtlantaBirdGang. I know we talked about it a little bit. Hopefully everybody will get together and do a serious recon and see where we can do that. I know at first we had talked about possibly doing that. Never got a chance to see that go all the way though, PJ. But good coming through. I noticed. I'm speaking to PJ because I know PJ has affiliations, but it was kind of interesting the interactions between teams this year. Obviously, with the Atlanta Hawks making their run in the playoffs last year, and of course, a lot of people were like, "Okay, Falcons, get some of that mojo," and then naturally the world champion Atlanta Braves doing what they did this year. I actually have on their jersey today. Just to see those winning buys back in the city of Atlanta was a good thing this year. So, look, if we're truthful with each other, this team needs a lot of help this year. I'm trying to think there isn't a position on this team where I could say we're set. And the only one I would think about maybe place kicker, but he's a free agent this year. So there's no guarantee that Youngway will come back. And I'm sure Youngway is not going to come back for the same amount of money he had this year. So when you start thinking about all the position groups, you think about quarterback, you think about running back, you think about wide receivers, you think about offensive linemen. There isn't a position that I think you feel safe with this team in 2021. So in 2022, let's hope that Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith come up and develop a plan that we can improve those areas defensively. I mean, I don't even need to speak on any position defensively. We struggle quite a bit. AJ Terrell definitely looking like he's going to be that player. I've told people kind of pump the brakes on all the shutdown corner. He's not there yet, but he's definitely one of the better players on defense. going into the year financially, what are we going to do with Grady? Are we going to try to do extension? Is Dion going to be someone that we dangle out there as trade bait? There are going to have to be some answers. And even with the salary cap being expanded this year, we still have certain needs on this team that we're going to have to be serious about. Where do we go? Of course, the question will always start at the beginning. Where do we go with Matt? And this is not to start a conversation of whether Matt is good or whether Matt is bad, but with the salary cap that we have coming up this year and the constraints we have on it this year, do the Falcons sit this one out and just say, you know what, go ahead and let that contract dissolve? Because letting Matt play in 2022, I shouldn't even say let him play, letting him be on this roster in 2022 really opens up things for 2023. So if you even thought about it, I've been seeing all of the stuff people have been reporting on the internet about possible trade scenarios and things like that. But obviously the Falcons are not going to do anything that doesn't benefit them. So hopefully we'll see. Let's see if these things will come to fruition. Cam says, AJ truly made me look at him differently because I had my doubts about him coming out of Clemson. I'm going to tell you what, Cam, if you remember a couple of years ago when they had the draft in 2020, I was really upset at the AJ Terrell pick because I said to myself, I was like, who is this kid? No, I take that back. I didn't say who is this kid. I said that's the kid who was getting smoked in the national championship game against LSU. And we come to find out he might have been hurt that game. But I was really concerned about that particular pick, obviously a Dimitrov pick. I'm glad to say I was wrong about that. And he looks like he is truly going to be a great part of the future for the next couple of years. Now we need to get someone on that other side and see if they can match that up. Because I'm telling you, the closer we can get to a team that can go man against a lot of folks, once we can start going man to man, that's going to open up a lot of things with the safety position. And we're right now very stretched at safety. Richie Grant finally start getting his feet wet in the lineup here in the second part of the season, but he's still got a long way to go. I see him making a couple of plays. We still got a long way to go with the development of him. I saw some good things out of linebacker with Michael Walker this year. Does that make Deion Jones expendable? I don't know. What do we do with Foye, free agent? I mean, do you actually think about letting him go? Second in the league or third in the league in tackles, make big plays like he did last week to seal the game up. Got a lot of questions that we need to ask ourselves going into 2022. Anthony says, hey, Steve, what are your thoughts on the Gulch parking area going away to developers for condos in the shopping community? Best spot for tailgating. Yeah, a lot of people were ticked off about the Gulch being taken away. But you know what? The almighty dollar, Anthony, will win. It wins that battle all day, every day. Yeah, there were a lot of folks very ticked off about losing that area. And also the other apartments right now, okay, like if you come down from Pascal's, that little area right before the gas station, they're thinking about getting rid of that particular area as well. One of the guys was talking about that on the radio where they were saying, yeah, they told them this is probably their last year that they're going to be able to do some tailgating down there. So yeah, man, that's something else. Christopher says Matt's getting extended. Ooh, I think that's the one thing I can probably be safe to say, Christopher. I don't think he's going to get extended this year. That's the one thing that would put us in worse. when you truly evaluate Matt's play this year, and Matt wasn't garbage. Matt is still a top 16 quarterback in the NFL, especially when he has weapons around him and an offensive line that's doing well. He still is serviceable. To extend Matt would be pushing that bonus money even further out. And there is nothing that Matt has done in 2021 that would make me think the Falcons would do that. Let me just put it this way. In your eyes, or anybody else who's listening, is there anything in anyone's eyes that feel like Matt, based on this year's play, and I probably stretch a little bit to last year too, is there anything from 2020 and 2021 that would make you think that we're going to make a priority to extend Matt out past 2022? I think the answer has to be no. I know we've had limitations on blocking. I know we have. I know we're working with a no-name running back system. Aside, thank God for Cordero Patterson. I know the wide receivers. We have a wide receiver one right now that basically had to jump into the job mid-season, didn't know it. I know all of that stuff, but Matt, there has been nothing that has shown me that he would even deserve an extension. That's me. If you have a different opinion, let me know. I just don't think it's going to happen. Christopher says, so we're going to pay that $40 million and take that huge dead cap hit. Now, remember, Christopher, the $40 million, and I'm going to try to pull this up on Spot Track right quick. The $40 million hit is next year, not 2023. 2022, I'm pretty much resigned to the fact that I think Matt is going to be here. Barring some team saying we want Matt so bad that we're gonna eat up that, we're gonna take some of that bonus away from you. I don't think any team is gonna do that for, at that time, which will be a 38-year-old Matt Ryan. I'm trying to pull it up for you so y'all can see on here. And here it is, Matt Ryan. I'll pull it up and then I'm going to share the screen. Give me 1 second, y'all. Share the screen. One of the best websites on Spot Track. Okay, so I'm going to pull this down a little bit. So this is Matt Ryan's contract. And I'm going to try to see if I can make this thing a little bit bigger. Okay. A little bit bigger. Bring it down a little bit. Okay. So the dead money part, really, the best thing is after 2022, I'm trying to put my thing right here. After 2022, this is the last big time where we have a huge cap for him. $48 million in cap. Now, if it's a pre June 1st release, we would still have $40 million to pay, and then a sack, not pay, but we have to account for, and you have $8 million in cap savings. That's not a whole lot. Now, if you were to go ahead and let him, trying to get this out of here. There we go. If you were to release him after 2023, look at the dead cap then. 2023, the dead cap would only be $15 million, and you would save $28 million. So you almost have to suck it up for next year, because you're going to be in much better shape to release him in 2023. Because $15 million, it sounds like a whole lot, but that'll be the last year you have to worry about it. He'll be a free agent in 2024. I don't think there's any way that he's here past 2023. I'm sorry, 2022. I don't think there is. Let me get back over here. That's the best thing to do. Christopher says, not saying he deserves it, just talking about the financial situation that we're in. Oh no, I don't think I was suggesting that you were saying he deserved it. Yeah, I think you have to take the hit. Here's our resident capologist, Tidy. Tidy said, "What's going on, brother?" Says, "Eat the cap hit for Matt next season. Stop kicking the Coke can down the street." And that's basically what I'm saying too. You have to pay for the sins of the previous regime. That's 2022. You're going to do it. You have to. You got to take that hit. After 2022, you really have some options. And with that much money you'll be able to save in 2023, again, no way he's here past then. But that's in 2022. Let's see. I mean, Terry Fontenot was part of that New Orleans team that made cap magic every year. Him and Mickey Loomis down there. Let's see if he can work some magic. I don't see how he can. But New Orleans did that every year with Drew Brees, and still we're in a position to make some signings this year after Drew Brees left. So let's see how that works out. Anthony says, no, it's just more of the same. Extended his contract more years will mean settling for losing 3 more years. The entire fan base will turn on Arthur Blank in the front office. And it's that part right there that you also have to worry about. We've talked about this several times. I think our buzzword for the last month or so has been energy or /synergy in this team. I think you're just getting to a point right now where the writing's on the wall for this era of Atlanta, the Matt Ryan era, who, not to his fault, he's the longest tenured Atlanta Falcon, I think, ever. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So when you're here that long and you get attached to a certain era, there's actually been 3 different eras within his time with us. But because he's been here so long, I think there's just a different feel that I think you need to bring into this organization. And until you do that, you're going to get a fan base that's feel like they're stuck in the mud and they feel like they don't have anything else to look forward to. And even after this year, getting rid of arguably your best athlete in the history of the Atlanta Falcons, and Julio Jones, arguably, and with Calvin Ridley leaving, I mean, there's nobody else left. There's no one else left that's attached to this Matt Ryan era. Everybody else is gone. So I think you need to start thinking about that. Keith, what's going on, sir? Said they will pay him and let him go. If they extend him, it only backloads the contract for 2024 or so. So we may as well pay him now and build a team for his success. Well, we got to pay him one way or the other next year. But I think when you start talking about past 2022, Keith, I think that's something where you got to start looking out for the future. Listen, we drafted AJ in 2020, and look, 2024, he'd be here before you know it. You don't want to keep backloading that contract of match down the road, kind of like Tidy was saying. You don't want to keep kicking the can down the road and keep saying, "Oh, we'll stretch it down. We'll get it down. We'll knock it out." The difference in the Drew Brees situation, I'll say too, is at least Drew Brees was putting up winning seasons and competitive teams while they were renegotiating and redoing his contract every year. Matt right now is going on 4 straight years of barring something, a miracle this week in Orchard Park. He's going on 4 straight years of losing football here in the city. And I think a lot of people almost may be hoping that this doesn't work out. I want Falcons to succeed. I just think it's time to get some new blood in here. Christopher says we can deal with that $15 million just trying to get through next year. That's my thing. I'm right with you, sir. 2022, just deal with it. And even with even with that big cap he has, they still say we'll have about $11 million to work with. Now, that's prior to any moves that we end up making. But also remember, going to have a draft class you're going to have to figure out. You have some questions in free agency going forward in 2022. Foye, that's my number one concern right there. What do you do with Foye? Do you slap a tender on him and get a draft pick back if somebody picks him up? Russell Gage, I don't think he's high priority, but let's face it, you don't have any other receivers here. You got to start thinking about what you're going to do with that situation. We have a lot of things to worry about going into 2022. Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith are going to earn their money going into this next season. Christmas says we need more than magic. You're not kidding. You're not kidding about that. Robert says, I know it's not realistic. Maybe Matt will just retire after this year. Wishful thinking. I don't see. There's nothing that I see in Matt. It's not like Ben Roethlisberger where you can just kind of see Roethlisberger. Matt is not what he was before, but Roethlisberger is basically just out there. So I'll give Matt credit that at least he has some type of life out there. So I'm willing to spare him just a little bit. But yeah, those are things we're going to have to look at in 2022 and see how we're going to go going into the year. Look, when we start thinking about those empty seats I see in that stadium, some folks, including myself, have some difficult decisions to make. Do we want to still invest in this? And half of us are already into our PSL. It would be almost ridiculous if you almost finished paying your PSL, or if you're fortunate enough to pay it off or already have paid it off. Is that an investment that you just let go? I don't think you do. So you got to start, thinking about that kind of stuff. Keith says, "Oh yeah, it's a wrap with Big Ben. Yeah, Big Ben is out. He kind of somewhat made it semi-official yesterday during his press conference. I think he was pretty much gone anyway. In the way Pittsburgh has kind of faltered at the end, it'll be interesting to see if Mike Tomlin follows him. I think Mike Tomlin has got a pass for the last couple of years. I'm not saying that he's over the hill and done as a coach, but I'm saying with Pittsburgh, it would be interesting to see if they would just change, because let's face it, he's been there the whole Roethlisberger era, and he is somebody that you start thinking about and saying, maybe his time has kind of gone by the wayside. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I know it is 3:15, and a lot of y'all are gonna get ready to watch this Alabama game. I'm hoping that Georgia can do their thing. I really just think to a man, I don't think Michigan can hold their own with Georgia. I think Georgia is just the better team. I look for Alabama to have an easy time with Cincinnati, and I'm looking at an Alabama-Georgia matchup next weekend. I'm looking at next Monday, and the rematch to really solve it all. And let's see what happens then. But I'll give my scores. I say Alabama, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be somewhere where Alabama gets into the 40s. I say like maybe 41-30. I think Cincinnati will show up, but I just don't think they're going to be able to handle Alabama's depth. I think Georgia and Michigan might be close first, but I think Georgia pulls out in the end. Looking at Georgia score somewhere 30-17 or something like that. I think the dream is for Jim Harbaugh. Plus, we owe him anyway. Jim Harbaugh came in here with that team in San Francisco and beat us a few years ago. So I have no love lost for Mr. Harbaugh going forward. Anyway, you guys have a beautiful, happy New Year. We will definitely talk to you on Sunday after the game, after the Buffalo game, to officially either officially start the offseason by being eliminated by the Bills, or talk about the miracle in Orchard Park and see if they will somehow miraculously come by and win that game. I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see which Falcon team shows up. Until then, y'all have a happy New Year. We will catch y'all on the other side. Y'all be good. Happy New Year, the Atlanta Bird Gang. Happy New Year to everybody in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Thanks again for 2021. Look forward to seeing all of y'all in 2022. Peace. Stay safe out there, y'all. For real, for real. Stay safe. Y'all be good. Peace.